counting the cost in care homes, as more than 11,000 people have now died in them. Hello and welcome to 5 News. I'm Sian Williams. The impact of the lockdown on the UK's workforce is becoming horribly apparent. According to new figures, last month claims for unemployment benefit rose by nearly 70%. That's an extra 865,000 people who needed financial help in just the first month of this lockdown, excluding all those on the government's furlough scheme. And it's not just the only sign of how dire the situation is becoming, as Layla Hayes reports. Donald Trump has alarmed scientists again, this time by revealing that he's taken an unproven drug to try to ward off the virus. The US president says he's heard a lot of good stories about hydroxychloroquine, but medical experts warn it might not only be ineffective, it could also be lethal. Julian Drucker reports. EasyJet says hackers have accessed travel details of 9 million passengers. Data including names and email addresses have been compromised, though for some passengers it involves their credit card details too. Well, Danny Sinha has the details for us. Danny, talk us through what's happened here.
This is a highly sophisticated scam. 9 million EasyJet customers have had their personal details hacked. Now, we don't know exactly when that happened, but we do know that the airline is taking this very...
How worried should people be then?
Well, do you know what? It's never nice, is it, when these things happen? But the airline says there is no evidence that any personal information has been misused. So some good news there. But of course, many people tonight wondering, am I one of the unlucky ones? And what should I do next? Well, we have some advice for you next week. Sian.
All right, Danny, thanks very much for that. Coming up on 5 News. Hello and welcome back. Well, the pandemic has forced hospitals to adapt in extraordinary ways, hasn't it? And in some cases, that's leading to some pioneering developments. 5 News has been given access to the acute medical unit at University Hospital Southampton, where staff are among the first to be given a specially designed protective hood. It's a striking sight and just one of the many ways the hospital is trying to keep the virus at bay. Our health correspondent, Catherine Jones, reports. A restaurant or a cafe again, but in the age of social distancing, how can we ensure that we all do it safely? Well, not for the first time this week. The humble shower curtain, you heard that correctly, could provide the solution. Peter Lane has been to a cafe in Worcester that's had a rather unusual lockdown makeover.
Worcester.
Well, we might not be able to put the world to rights over a brew just yet, but it's still important to look after yourself. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and we're getting tips from Amber Costa. Beautiful. Claire Nazir has the weather for you next. Before we go, some good news from the world of birds. A conservation programme to introduce wild white storks to the UK has been successful. It took place on an estate in West Sussex where